A group of mountaineers discovers a girl in a hole, but now they are being chased by her kidnappers. Can they manage to escape alive? Let's find out. The movie starts in the Scottish Highland Mountains. 3 mountaineers, Allison, Ed, and Rob, are climbing a steep mountain. Rob is leading the way, and Allison and Ed are following. While they are climbing, Allison asks Ed to take a picture of the beautiful view. Suddenly, one of the anchors breaks, causing Ed to slip and hang upside down at the edge of the cliff. He gets scared and starts shouting for help. Then Rob quickly comes to his rescue. Thankfully, Ed is attached to a rope, which prevents him from falling to his death. Finally, they reach the top of the mountain, but Ed is still shaking from the terrifying experience. Later, Allison tells Ed to be careful next time, emphasizing that any wrong move could be deadly. Then they all meet up with their friends Jenny and Alex at a nearby cottage. Soon Ed realizes that there is no network coverage in the area. Meanwhile, Allison decides to take a bath. While she's in there, she can't stop thinking about the incident with Ed and flinches with terror. At the dinner table, they all have fun, drinking and playing cards. After a while, Jenny and Alex decide to leave early to sleep. Meanwhile, the other 3 continue talking about the weather conditions. During their conversation, Allison points at a mountain photo hanging on the wall. Rob assures her that they will climb it next year. Then Allison mentions that it's one of the most dangerous summits, as 70 people have died there. The next morning, they all get ready for hiking. Meanwhile, Rob mentions avoiding climbing the western face of the mountains due to bad weather. So they decide to take the North Ridge instead. Moreover, they have to cover a lot of ground to reach there. Thus, they start their journey and take a break after hours of walking. While taking a break for lunch, Ed goes to pee in the woods. Suddenly, he hears a noise nearby and calls the others to check. Then, they all come and identify the noise as a human scream. They decide to follow the noise for several meters, and the noise becomes clearer. There, they see a small tube in the ground. Rob mentions that it might be a breathing tube, and someone could be down there. Realizing this, Rob rushes to get a shovel. Then Rob and Ed start digging the ground. Soon after, they find a big wooden chamber. They open it and discover a small girl underneath. However, the girl seems scared and refuses to come out. Jenny jumps down to comfort the girl. Then they pull the girl out, and Jenny tries to talk to her. As the girl is a foreigner, she is unable to understand English. However, Jenny manages to ask her name, and she says her name is Anna. Meanwhile, Ed guesses that Anna is Croatian, but he doesn't know their language. Afterwards, Allison says that whoever left Anna in the chamber didn't want her to die. On the other hand, Alex shows disinterest and wants to leave to avoid trouble. However, Jenny disagrees and believes it's their responsibility to help the little girl. Rob takes out a map to find a nearby village called Annanmore, but it's 20 miles away. He points out the shortest route, Devil's Drop, but it involves getting down a 500 feet sheer cliff. Since the little girl can't manage that, Allison and Rob decide to take that route to get help. Meanwhile, the other 3 take the longest route to reach the village while waiting for rescue. Eventually, Allison and Rob arrive at Devil's Drop, and Allison starts rappelling down the cliff slowly. When Allison reaches the middle, she realizes there isn't enough rope. Left with no option, she decides to continue down without the rope. As Allison struggles to find a way down, Rob also begins rappelling. Unfortunately, his rope breaks, causing him to fall down the cliff. Tragically, Rob loses life. Terrified by Rob's fate, Allison still attempts to find a way to get down. Suddenly, she notices a barrage of small rocks coming her way. To protect herself, Allison jumps from the cliff and luckily lands in the river. She manages to swim to shore but ends up fainting. In her dream, Allison finds herself trapped in the same hole where they found Anna. As she wakes up, she sees herself beside Rob's lifeless body and realizes that someone cut his rope. Meanwhile, the other members continue their journey to the village through the longest route. As Anna becomes tired, Alex decides to carry her, but this frightens the little girl. In the afternoon, the group is making their way through the forest when Allison rushes to tell them about Rob's death. On the other side, 2 hunters are attempting to illegally hunt on a nearby cliff. However, they are confronted by Anna's 2 kidnappers named Kid and McCrae. The kidnappers kill the hunters and take their rifles. Meanwhile, Allison finally meets up with the rest of the group. However, they are on the other side of the rushing stream and can't hear Allison's voice. After struggling a lot, the group manages to understand Allison's words and learns about Rob's death. They all get shocked and try to figure out their next move. In the meantime, the kidnappers use rifles to open fire at the group. During the attack, Jenny is shot and falls into the river along with Anna, while Alex and Ed rush to save them. After another burst of gunfire, Allison also falls into the river. However, she swims to reach Jenny and Anna. Sadly, Jenny dies, but Allison manages to rescue Anna. Then she carries Anna and performs CPR on her. After a few tries, Anna regains consciousness. Then they both start climbing a small cliff to save themselves. On the other side, the kidnappers spot them and continue shooting at them relentlessly. Fortunately, they miss their shots, and Anna and Allison finally escape, but they get separated. Anna hides behind a big rock, and Ed comes to her rescue. Eventually, they reunite with Allison and Alex. The kidnappers are still in pursuit. Meanwhile, Alex comes up with an idea to distract the kidnappers. Thus he runs in the opposite direction and wraps a backpack in a blanket to make it seem like he's carrying the girl. Sadly, the kidnappers shoot him continuously until he loses his life. However, Allison, Anna, and Ed take advantage of the situation to escape from the wild area and reach a cliff that leads to the village. Ultimately, they have no choice but to rappel down. Thus Allison tries to encourage Anna to get down the cliff. Fortunately, they all reach the bottom safely. After reaching there, Allison tells Ed that maybe Alex has already reached the village to get help. However, Ed says that after hearing so many shots, he doesn't think Alex is alive. Furthermore, he tells Allison that his leg is badly hurt, suggesting that they continue the journey without him. Then he mentions that the girl might have been kidnapped for ransom. Moreover, they made a mistake taking her out of that hole, as it might put her in more danger. However, Allison insists that they can't be inhumane and leave a little girl in the hole. Eventually, Ed agrees, and they decide to head towards the village to find help. On the other side, the two kidnappers also move towards the village to get a ransom from Anna's family. One of the kidnappers mentions that even if they lost the girl, they can still trick her rich father into paying the ransom. As in the past, one of their victims died, and they still manage to get money from the family. As they head towards the village, three men join the scene. Among them is Darko, a gangster, along with British mercenaries Andy and Chris. They have been recruited by Anna's influential mafia father to handle the ransom negotiation with the kidnappers on his behalf. As night falls, Allison and Ed arrive at the village and make their way to the police station to report the kidnapping and murders. However, the sub-inspector doesn't believe their story. Then he asks them to wait until the constable arrives to record their statements. On the other side, one of the kidnappers named Kid meets Mr. Darko at the pub for the negotiation. Since Kid failed to capture Anna, he lies to Mr. Darko to try to get the money. During their conversation, Darko insists that he won't give him the money until he hands over the girl. Afterwards, Kid attempts to threaten Darko by mentioning how he has killed some of his child hostages before. However, Darko remains calm and tells him that he won't change his mind until he sees the girl. Meanwhile, Ed becomes frustrated by waiting for so long. Then he convinces Allison that the chief might have connections with the kidnappers, trying to trap them. Thus, they decide to leave the place. Meanwhile, the chief arrives and tries to stop them from leaving, but Ed brings out a knife and threatens him. However, the inspector tries to calm him down. Suddenly, a gunshot bursts from the window, and the chief falls to the ground. They realize that one of the kidnappers named McRae is shooting at them from the roof on the opposite side. Quickly, the three of them crawl on the ground to avoid the gunshots. The dying inspector tells Ed about a back door, and they all escape. Allison, Ed, and Anna run through the village streets while the kidnapper chases them. Eventually they blend into the crowd at the Beltane festival to confuse the kidnapper. Suddenly, one of the mercenaries named Chris spots Ed, Allison, and Anna. By mistake, he shoots Ed, thinking he is one of the kidnappers. The kidnapper also follows them and ends up shooting Chris. In the chaos, Chris manages to talk through a portable radio device before he passes away. Chris informs the other mercenary named Andy that the kidnappers don't have the girl. When Darko hears this news, he immediately attacks Kid. After killing the mercenary named Chris, McRae starts chasing Allison and Anna again. After a while, Allison takes Anna inside a nearby house. However, McRae sees them and follows them there too. As Allison and Anna try to hide, McRae shoots the house owner and goes upstairs to find them. Finally, McRae grabs Allison by her neck and beats her. Meanwhile, Anna hides herself under the bed. After a while, Allison sprays something into McRae's eyes and tries to escape. However, she falls to the ground and loses consciousness. In the meantime, a fire breaks out in the house during their struggle. As McRae approaches Anna, Allison wakes up again and engages in a hand-to-hand fight with McRae. The fight eventually ends with Allison killing him by pushing him out of a window. Then she manages to save Anna from the burning building but faints before escaping the house herself. Later, firefighters come and rescue Allison. After that, she is shifted to the hospital in an ambulance, with Anna remaining by her side. Meanwhile, Darko watches them and confirms that Anna is alive and safe. Afterwards, Kid manages to escape and rushes towards his vehicle with the ransom money. However, one of the mercenaries named Andy catches him. Later, Darko and Andy drive into the forest to meet Anna's father. There, Darko informs Anna's father that their mission is successful and Anna is safe. After a while, they bring out the kidnapper, Kid, from the car trunk. Anna's father asks his men to torture Kid. Thus they strip off his clothes and push him into a hole to suffer a miserable death. Moreover, Anna's father pays Darko and Andy for their services, expressing that he is in their debt for life. Meanwhile, Allison wakes up in the ambulance and sees Anna by her side. Anna says something to Allison, but she doesn't understand. However, the nurse translates Anna's words and tells Allison that she is saying, "Thank you." Allison smiles with tears in her eyes. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications to help the channel out. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.